I don't think anybody cares about Bernie Sanders anymore.
Who would?
So
it's like caring about Ukraine.
I keep forgetting nobody cares about Bernie Sanders anymore. But too late. I already put him into a segment. And so here's Bernie Sanders. We're going to juxtapose Bernie Sanders with Mike Gravel, the late Mike Gravel. Why do they say late? That always sounds like he got stuck in traffic.
He's going to be suicided.
But so here's Bernie responding to the situation in Israel Palestine, and here's how he handled it. He's going to make some bold statements on the floor of the Senate.
Okay.
Here we go. Ready?
The mowing down by machine guns of young people who were doing nothing more than attending a dance, the murder of babies. This is an horrific act precipitating a worldwide crisis. And the United States of America,
but it didn't get precipitated by the blockade that was instituted in 2006. It didn't get participated by what they did in 2014.
No, it was unprovoked.
This thing.
It was unprovoked.
Completely unprovoked.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders showing you that he's a cuck boy till the day he dies. How the hell did he fool me so well? Because I'm an idiot. How about that?
Wait, but does he at the end of the? Okay, well, I guess play the whole thing because I have a question.
Let's play. Well, we don't have the whole thing. We just have. Here's we go.
Let's condemn this act.
That's it.
And in my view, the state of Israel has the absolute right. To defend itself against Hamas and terrorism in general. No debate on that.
No debate on that. Hamas, the organization that was invented by Israel and then funded by Israel. That organization to give them the cover to do exactly what they're doing now. That whole thing. You mean that? They always leave that out. It's like when they talk about the Ukraine war and they start in February 2022, they start with the Russia invading the Donbass. Yeah. They leave out all the stuff. He just did the same thing. And when he says absolute right, he doesn't say the right. He says absolute, meaning they can do whatever the F they want. That's how I interpret that.
Okay,
go ahead, Kurt.
So Dan Cohen, who was on, told us they did not create Hamas. It was the Muslim Brotherhood. But they saw it created and then fund. It created the way like a legendary producer creates a big pop star. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just to be specific. And the other thing is
thank you for the clarification on that, Kurt.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why.
Because people will come at me for that.
They will.
I know.
The seller would know him, who's a very reasonable guy. He goes, they did not create Hamas. I was like, nobody said that.
Hamas would not be what it is today if Israel didn't fund it.
Hey, I said it. When Dan said that, Dan corrected us. Yeah. And I said, hey, if they had been a boy band and like they would take credit as creating it, like if you were managing a boy band, even though you didn't do you didn't have the talent. But this part, it ends on no debate on that. After this, is there a but coming? Or he goes, but you can't do siege warfare. Because I imagine you would have to do a long preamble like this to even get to saying maybe don't turn off the food and water and gas on all the people who live there. You know what?
This is the clip sent to me by my producer, so I don't know if I'm sure there's more to it, but I don't know what the more to it is.
By the way, I'm sure.
I hope there's a but coming.
I'm just saying that could be because if you're a politician, you got to choose your words. He said Hamas and terrorism. I'm really curious because if he goes after that, if there's even a mention of like don't kill all the women and men and children, the majority of people that aren't in Hamas, right. It'd be a lot less bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, so to clarify, Israel did not create Hamas. They just been funding it. They just been funding it.
It's just it's
much better.
Marketing, social media, that kind of stuff.
They've just been funding it.
No, it was a strategy, Jimmy. I know it sounds bad, but it was to divide.
Yeah,
keep a two-state. They don't want a Palestinians. The two-state solution.
Yeah,
that every dipshit liberal told me was a thing, which was never a thing.
It was never a thing. I don't know. So what is the solution? It's not a two-state solution or one-state solution because they'll never allow it to be a two-state. Is that the whole thing? It seems like anyway.
Netanyahu said that outright. So that's why
he said that outright.
Yeah, that's the quote about why we got to support Hamas because we need to divide West Bank from Gaza. And so they're in the impression, and I don't think that he on purpose let it go down. I think this asshole, they got all their surveillance in there. They had no human on the ground intel in there. Okay. And I think they thought they had it well in hand.
So you think they just messed up?
You don't think enormously? No.
You don't think
they were told by Egypt and us?
They were told by Egypt that there was
also us and he, but the arrogance of like, no, we're monitoring their things. All we're hearing is that they're broken. Steve Sloboda told us that.
Mark Sloboda.
I keep calling him Steve.
It's okay.
But it made a lot of sense because the thing looks like a prison break. Looks like a thing you're doing because they're not paying attention.
Yes.
And, hang gliders.
That's fun. You're right. Hang gliders, guys in flip-flops.
It's like Escape from L.A. That's how the end of Escape from L.A. was. They made L.A. into a prison. The sequel to Escape from New York.
Yeah.
I guess based on Gaza.
Well, I don't think we can have a two-state solution now, too, as well, because in West Bank, I think there's close to 600,000 Israeli settlers in there. So the IDF can't remove them and have a two-state solution anymore.
Nobody knows this part that I didn't know, which is that Gaza, which I thought like, they live, I didn't really know anything about it. But I'm watching now on other coverage of this. I told you they're going, well, okay, you're going to go in there. It's going to be tough fighting. What's your end game? You can't go in without an end game. Like they do have an end game. They have a right to fight terrorism. Parts of this end game, I don't know how you would say there would even be a right to.
Yeah.
They have a right to fund it, I guess, if it helps with the end game we're not going to talk about.
Well, it does seem like their end game is what? Get all the people out of Gaza.
A bunch of people want to be in Gaza.
Themselves.
Yeah, they shouldn't even
There's
have
a bunch
Gaza.
of people who want Gaza, and they've pushed the settlements up to the borders now of Gaza. They got nowhere else to go, but so they got to get rid of them so they can go in there.
That guy's coalition depends on the most maniac wing. That guy Netanyahu, like he had all kinds of trouble. He's gonna have trouble anyway because from what I can read in their news sources, they're like, we'll get to him. We just want to get this thing accomplished first.
So here's what Mike Gravel said back. Now, what year was this? Was this 2008?
I think that's when he was running against 2008 when there was Dennis Kucinich, Hillary Clinton.
I don't remember this guy at all.
So Mike Gravel used to be a senator from Alaska, right? Yeah. So he was the one who read the
Pentagon Papers.
The Pentagon Papers into the congressional record.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
on the floor, yeah.
So he was pretty consistent, and here he is being consistent once again.
And I got to tell you, after standing up with them, some of these people frighten me. They frighten me. When you have mainline candidates that turn around and say that there's nothing off the table with respect to Iran, that's code for using nukes, nuclear devices. I got to tell you, I'm President of the United States. There will be no preemptive wars with nuclear devices. To my mind, it's immoral, and it's been immoral for the last 50 years as part of American foreign policy.
Let's use a little moderator discretion here. Senator Gravel, that's a weighty charge. Who on this stage exactly tonight worries you so much?
Well, I would say the top-tier ones. The top tier ones. They've made statements. Oh, Joe, I'll include you too. You have a certain arrogance. You want to tell the Iraqis how to run their country. I got to tell you, we should just play get out. Just play get out. It's their country. They're asking us to leave, and we insist on staying there. And why not get out? What harm is it going to do? Oh, you hear the statement, well, my God, the soldiers will have died in vain. The entire deaths of Vietnam died in vain. And they're dying in vain right this very second. You know what's worse than a soldier dying in vain is more soldiers dying in vain. That's what's worse.
I don't know if you saw how much they were giggling.
I know.
Somehow Mike Gravel, look at the idiot. He didn't get the memo from APEC on how to handle this. He's not going to get funded. I'll tell you that. That's what's going.
This is 2008, by the way.
That was 2008. Yeah, and Barack Obama knew that he was in the bag for the military-industrial complex. So does Hillary. So is Joe Biden. We're run by homicidal maniacs.
Well, I know they're laughing because they're like, Mike, you'd be assassinated the first day.
The
intelligence community.
Yes. You think but that's before Trump. So
Mike, they have 6 ways to screw you.
Sunday. They've got 6 ways to Sunday to screw you.
So it's funny watching them cry after Trump, though, just having seen this.
Yeah. Wow. So there's that's how they treat somebody who's actually speaking sense during a presidential campaign. Brian Williams acts like he's a nut, and then the rest of them just laugh at him. Hey, come see us doing a live stand-up show in Bloomington, Illinois, Indianapolis, Levittown, New York, Red Bank, New Jersey, Wilmington, Delaware, Covina, California, Burbank, California, Oxnard, California, Venice, California, and Palmdale, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.